Shivaya Acharya ji.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Sada Shiva Samarambha
Shankaracharya
Shankaracharya Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Parampara Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavedvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we'll continue with where we left off. We had finished the 16th verse of the 9th chapter. So we are on the 17th verse. Please unmute yourself. We will chant. Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Shri
Bhagavan Vacha
Pitahamasya Jagataha
Pitahamasya
Jagataha
Mata Dhata Pitamaha
Mata
Vedyam Pavitram Omkara
Vedyam
Riksamaya Jurevacha
Riksamayajureva
Okay, so he carries on with the description. What is the description finally going to say? That everything in the world, everything in the universe, I alone am. So that is going on here. Pita hamasya asya jagataha pita aham. So you have to break it up like that. I am the father asya jagataha of this universe. Not only that, mata I am, dhata I am. Dhata is the karma phala data, dispenser of karma phalam. And not only that, I am pitamaha. I am the so we'll break the words up and say aham asya jagataha pita. I am the father of this universe. And you have to supply aham asya jagataha mata. I am also the mother of the universe. And this representation is basically I am not only the nimitta karanam, I am the upadana karanam also. Abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. And there is a particular aspect of the Lord which represents this duality. What is that? Ardhanarishwara. So whenever the Lord is presented as Ardhanarishwara, remember he is pointing out that he is father and mother. Basically, in Vedantic terms, he is the nimitta karanam and the upadana karanam. He is the efficient cause as well as the material cause. And ahameva pitamaha. So pitamaha means grandfather. What is the Vedantic significance of saying that I am the father, but I am also the grandfather? So all these are very...
The eternity, the eternal nature.
No.
Pitru? Anything to do with
Sorry?
our ancestors? Is it anything to do our ancestors? Oh.
No.
Could we take it to mean that?
You take it as to mean...
back into time.
No.
Endless time.
When you are saying I am my own grandfather, what does it mean? It means I don't have a father.
Not born. It means I was never born.
It means I don't have a father. And therefore I am the anadi karanam. I am the causeless cause of creation.
Okay.
So very, you shouldn't, like some people go into, I've seen pages of arguments about why grandfather and father are together. The answer is very simple. If grandfather and father are one, it means I don't have a father, which means I am causeless, I am unborn, anadi. So, pitamaha api aham. I am the causeless cause of the creation. I am the anadi karanam of this creation. Then dhata. So, dhata is what? So, karmasya dhata. Karma phalasya dhata or vidhata. Shankara says, karma phalasya vidhata. The one who distributes karma phalam to the jivas, that I am. So, what is this karma phalam in terms of what type of body I should get, whether I am male, whether I am female, whether I am animal, whether I am scorpion, whether I am plant, whether I am sick, whether I am healthy. All this is decided by dhata. What is the longevity of your life and what all things you should get in your life, all that, everything is coming out of this particular word, dhata, is the karma phala dhata. And the understanding, therefore, is that when Ishvara is karma phala dhata, then whether I get good things in life as my phalam or I get bad things in life as my phalam, it is coming from the hands of Ishvara only. And Ishvara's hands are not random. He doesn't function with whims and fancies because he has no raga dvesha. And that is why I keep on repeating, the one who has assimilated the law of karma will never ask, why is this happening? And in particular, he will never ask, why is this happening to me? So when he see, why is it happening to me is a good question because then I am directly affected. But when you see it happening to others, all of us are great philosophers. We say, oh, karma phalam, yes, unfortunately, he did bad things in his previous life. All those, we are all great philosophers. But when it happens to me, can I assimilate? Can I understand that it is the same law because of which somebody else is getting his karma phalam? I am also getting mine. And that you assimilate, the law of karma has been assimilated. So the word dhata here is a very important one. It reminds us of all the teachings. Law of karma is are the hands of the Lord. There is no randomness there. Whatever I get is because of what I have accumulated alone. My karma, which is accumulated, that is now being fructified. And then what? Vedyam, the second line, first word. Vedyam means that which is to be known. That ultimate thing, the ultimate reality which is to be known is Brahman. And knowing which alone, your needs will get satisfied, hunger will get satisfied, So I don't know how many of you are familiar with something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? There was a gentleman called Maslow.
Yes.
So he, and doctors will know, of course, people who have studied psychology will know, even people who have studied management will know. So I'll just briefly outline. Maslow had a pyramid of needs, a hierarchy of needs. The first basic one, he said, were physiological needs. And what are physiological needs? These are the things which you need for survival itself. So air, water, food, clothing, shelter. Therefore, the physiological needs are the basic amenities which you need to survive. So that is the bottom of the pyramid. Once those physiological needs are fulfilled, then you have safety needs. So safety needs includes, physical safety, environmental safety, emotional safety. For example, you can have things like job security, a healthy bank balance, financial security, family security, health security, all these things. These are secondary, so that they come one step above the basic physiological needs. Once physiological and safety needs are satisfied, then you have things like need for love, affection, care, friendship. So all this forms the third layer called social needs. Now, until here, these are basic needs, right? Then once social needs are fulfilled, then you come across what is called needs for things like, self-respect, confidence, competence, recognition, power, status. I want people to admire me. All this is the fourth type of need which comes only after the first three are fulfilled. So these are called esteem needs, self-esteem needs. And the last one is what is called, after all these are fulfilled, when remember that 1 to 4, when they're all fulfilled, you are a society which is capable of giving security to everybody. You don't need to look around what will happen to me tomorrow. Once that is there, then Maslow says there is a self-actualization need. Now Maslow, of course, talks about this need, this particular need, as the urge to become the best that you are capable of becoming, achieving a total potential. But for us, for Vedantic, this is the need to know, the intellectual hunger to know. Why this creation? Who is this creation? What am I? Is there a God? What is my relationship with God? All those things. And all this intellectual hunger, this what he calls self-actualization need, is basically fulfilled by only one thing, and that is Vedyam. Only Shastram can fulfill. And therefore he says this, which will be the satisfaction of all your intellectual quest, that only I can fulfill. And because of that, Pavitram, I am the greatest purifier. Okay, now what is Pavitram? So those of you who have taken part in rituals, when you are sitting in the ritual, I don't know how many have taken part, they put a small little ring made out of grass on your hand. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
That is dharma
Yes.
grass.
And they call it Pavitram.
They call it Pavitram. Okay.
Yes.
So dharma grass by itself is just grass. Okay. But it is associated with Bhagavan. That association with Bhagavan, that is why it's called Pavitram. It makes it purifier. Right? For example, Ganga Snanam. Now Ganga is only our river. Why is it considered a purifier? It has to have an association with the Lord. And Ganga associated with which Lord? With Lord Shiva.
Shiva.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Then, therefore, the original source of all purification is the Lord Himself. Right? Then, what is the next one? Pavitram Omkaraha. So, I am Omkaraha. Now, Omkara, we must remember the story that once upon a time, the study of the Vedas was falling into disuse. Not very many people study the Vedas. Okay. So then Lord Brahmaji, he decided that they need a shorter form. So they condensed the Vedas into what is known as a Gayatri. Right. And that is why, when the Gayatri Mantra itself is said to contain all the four Vedas. If you chant the Gayatri, it is equivalent to chanting all the four Vedas, it is said. And that is why Veda is also called Brahma. So because Brahmachari means the one who studies Brahma, the Veda itself. And that is why when, I don't know who all have gone to this thing called Brahma Upadesha. When you are initiated into the life of a Brahmachari in a Gurukul, there is a particular ceremony which is called Brahma Upadesha. Right? Brahma Upadesha basically means Gayatri Upadesha. And through that Gayatri Upadesha, you are starting to study the Vedic teaching. Okay, then the story goes that Gayatri itself is rather long, right? Therefore, people didn't want to do that also. Therefore, Brahmaji condensed it into the 3 Vyaharati mantras. Vyaharati mantras is not part of the Gayatri, it is what is chanted before the Gayatri is chanted. And what are the Vyaharati mantras? Anybody knows? Vyaharati mantras. Bhur-bhuvasvaha. This is called the Vyaharati mantras. So Gayatri is condensed into that. And then Brahmaji thought that maybe, people in Kali Yuga may not be wanting to spend enough time to say Bhur-bhuvasvaha also. Therefore, he condensed it further into Om. Om, of course, consists of Uma. So, Ekaksharam Om. And therefore, Krishna is saying here that Omkara I am, which means that I am the entire Veda. I myself am. So he says, Rik Sama Yaju. Scriptures themselves are seen as the Lord in our tradition. In fact, in some interpretations and some acharyas, they say that Shastram is superior to the Lord. Why do they say that?
Because the Shastra reveals the
Because
God.
Shastra reveals the Lord. And therefore Shastram is superior to the Lord. Now, if you look at Rig Veda mantras, for example, they are mantras which are basically in form of poetry, metrical composition. And the Yajurveda mantras are usually in prose form. And Samaveda mantras are usually set to music. They are in Gana form, Ganam, right? So when you chant Sama mantras, when you chant Veda mantras, it is Veda Parayanam. When you chant, for example, Rig mantras, it is Rig mantra Parayanam or Yajur mantra Parayanam, right? But when you chant Sama mantras, it is called Sama Ganam, not Sama Parayanam. So this also I am. Ruk, Sama, Yajureva, I am. So you might ask, what about the fourth one? Atharvana Veda. Atharvana Veda is not much, most of it consists of worldly activities. Not much of some of Atharvana Vedic mantras are used for rituals. And therefore, normally when we talk about mantras being used and the Vedas, only the first three I mentioned, Rik, Sama, Yajur. Atharvana being more or less ritualistic towards the world, not for spiritual activity, is not usually mentioned. But you can add, there's no harm in saying that also. I am the Atharvana Veda also. Okay. Now we look at the 19th verse. We will chant. Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi
Gatir Bharta
Gatir Bharta
Bharta
Prabhu
Yajusakshi
Nivasa Sharanam Suhrat
Nivasa
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 Sharanam
Sharanam
Suhrit
Prabhavav Pralayasthanam
Prabhava
Bhava
Pralayasthanam
Pralayasthanam
Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam.
Nidhanam
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 Vyayam
Vyayam
Okay. So, Gatihi Bhartaha. Let me break up the first word. Gatihi Bhartaha. Gatihi is the goal. Bharta is the one who sustains. Prabhu means the master. Individual words. Sakshi meaning the witness. Nivasaha is the house or the abode. Sharanam is the refuge. Suhrata is a well-wisher. Prabhavaha means the origin, the source. Pralayam means the source or the ground of resolution, the destruction. Sthanam means support. Nidhanam is basically the warehouse, the repository. And Avyayam means unchanging. Bijam means seed. All beautiful little words. What is the idea of presenting this? Krishna is saying that the entire list is what? Nothing but Ishvara alone. Whatever you think of is Ishvara alone. So, when you look at the Bhashyam, you see there's a difference. Normally, what does Gatihi mean?
Speed, Veg, Gati.
Gatihi doesn't mean seed. What is Gati?
Motion.
Gati is destination.
Movement. Pardon?
Gati can mean speed. Gati can mean Gatihi
Yeah.
is that which you reach with your speed, which means destination. Gatihi was.
Ah,
Remember, there is a
destination.
visarga over there. Visarga in front of in the back of a word, it converts the word into its subject form. Okay. So Gati means travel. Gatihi means the place which you reach because of your travel, destination. So I am the destination, he says. But Shankara in his Bhashyam, he says no. Gatihi should be taken as karma phalam. Then the question comes, why should you take gatihi as karma phalam? What is the answer? That every person in this world, he does karma, right? What does he do karma for?
Punyam.
For punyam, which is phalam, right? Every person does karma for karma phalam. And therefore, every karta has a destination, which is what? The karma phalam. And therefore, Shankara says that every karta's destination is what? Only the karma phalam. Therefore, you should say gatihi is equal to karma phalam. And if you look at that, the interpretation here is that any karma phalam you get, whether it be painful or full of pleasure, accept it as Ishvara. It doesn't mean that you enjoy your biological pain. Okay, like if somebody pokes a needle into you, there will be pain. That's a discomfort. That discomfort you cannot stop, right? But then understand that even that discomfort, even when you're screaming in pain, suppose somebody stabs you with a knife, scream in pain, right? But even while you're screaming in pain, something at the end of your mind, at the back of your mind should tell you, okay, this is basically karma phala only. If you understand that, then you understand the meaning of gatihi. Okay. Also, you will find that when we are doing Upanishads, the word loka, anywhere, the word loka means what? World, right? But in Upanishads, the word loka is defined as karma phalam. Why? Same reason. Every loka that you reach, whether it be Swarga loka, Brahma loka, whichever loka you reach, ultimately it is karma phalam only, right? And that is why the word loka itself is defined as karma phalam. An extension of that is your body itself, your mind itself is karma phalam only, which is why you cannot blame the Lord for the type of body that you get or the type of experiences that you get. The Lord is only the tailor, right? You are the one who has given him the specifications by giving your karma. And therefore, this understanding that the Lord supplies me experiences because of the specifications given by me by way of my karma. Once you understand that, your resistance to sorrowful experiences goes away. Okay, so that is the meaning of gatihi. The karma phalam which I have got, that is also Ishvara only. And therefore I should not resist because it is my karma only. Okay, what is the next one? Bharta. What is Bharta? Not Bangan Bharta. What is Bharta?
Spouse, partner.
Well, the
When
word
you
Bharta
marry,
actually means the nourisher. Okay, the sustainer.
okay.
So Shankara in fact defines it as Poshtha, the one who sustains, the one who nourishes. And in some South Indian languages, say Malayalam for example, a husband is called Bhartava, the one who sustains, right? I don't know if there are any other languages which has the same thing, but normally Bharta means husband. Why is it so? Because he's Poshta, he's supposed to nourish and sustain. And that is, of course, this is again traditional theory only, because and so there are two things. One is Bharta, the sustainer, and one is Bharya, the one who is sustained. So Bharya means what? Wife in the old days. Of course, today's world, I mean, these words don't have any meaning because there are many girls I know who run the family. They earn much more than their husbands. So you cannot call her Bharya, you can call her Bhartri, the one who provides. And that's why Shankara or Anandagiri actually, he translated Bharta as Poshtha. Poshtha here means nourisher, the one who gives karma phaladata, the one who gives karma phalam. So here, Gatihi is the karma phalam. Bharta is the one who gives the karma phalam. Right? And you have to understand that whenever I say Ishvara is Bharta, Ishvara is karma phaladata, I am also accepting that he will be impartial because he has no raga dvesha. Therefore, no injustice can be done by Ishvara. Injustices can only be done by those who have got raga dvesha, which is the jiva. So, you should carefully note here that gati is translated as karma phalam and bharta is translated as karma phaladata. So, gatir bharta means karma as well as the karma phaladata, who is I alone am. Then Prabhu. Prabhu is master, Swami, right? A person who is capable, a person who is competent. And therefore what? Competent to be what? You connect it to the previous word. A Prabhu means the person who is competent, who has got the capability of doing what? Of doing, being a Bharata. Being a Bharata, of delivering karma phalam. Therefore, all three words you connect. Gati is karma phalam, Bharata is karma phaladata, and Prabhu is the one who has the competence necessary to be a karma phaladata. All three I am. Remember that in many books you will find Prabhu translated as Swami. What is the derivation of Swami? Anybody knows?
Swa Asmi.
Sorry?
Swa Asmi.
No. Swami comes from the word swam. Swam means wealth. And those who are in the south, what are the temple boards, what are they called?
Devaswam.
Devaswam, which means what? The trustees of
Wealth of
the
the Lord.
wealth of the Lord. Right? Of course, these are not directly relevant here, but little things, once we know, we'll sound very impressive when we talk. Anyway, fine. So, Swami is the one who is the owner of everything, the master of everything. Right. Then next one is Sakshi. Sakshi, Shankara defines that the witness of the commissions and the omissions of jivas. Praninam krita akritasya sakshi. Sakshi is the witness of all the krita commissions and akrita omissions, praninam of the jiva. Why is it necessary to be a sakshi, to be the bharta?
On the basis of
He is
that
the
only you
karma
dispense
phaladata.
the
He is
Yes, if you are to be a karma phaladata, you have to know what is the karma,
only
right?
interest.
And therefore you are the sakshi. Okay. Not only that, I am the nivasaha, that in which all the jivas reside, that I am. So you can take it as all the 14 lokas I am. Because jivas reside not only in Bhuloka, supposed to reside in all the 14 lokas. So all the 14 lokas are also nothing but Ishvara. And there is another meaning which is given not by Shankaracharya. It is given in Gudhartha Deepika. Okay. Gudhartha Deepika is written by whom?
Madhusudana Saraswati.
Madhusudana Saraswati. So he says Nivasaha should be taken as Bhogastanam, the place where the karmas are experienced. That is another meaning. It doesn't take away from this meaning, but it's just another meaning that this Acharya has given. Then Sharanam. Now Sharanam is defined very nicely by Shankaracharya. He says Sharanam is equal to Artanam Sharanam. Where did you come across the word Artha? You have to correct everything, then only you are understanding.
Chapter.
Chapter
Artha, Jnani.
Artharthi, right? So what
Artharthi.
did
Jignasu.
Artha mean over there?
Artha means the desperate one.
A distressed one, right?
Distress.
So he says Sharanam is Arthanam Sharanam. He is the refuge for the distressed. And not only that, Shankara adds another very beautiful two words. He says, Prapannam Arti Haraha. Prapannam means the one who has surrendered. So he is the Arti Haraha. Arti is the distress, Haraha is the removal. So Arti Haraha, he is the removal of the distress for Prapannam, for those who have surrendered to him. And therefore, when nobody is able to solve your problems and you become helpless, then Prapannam. And that is why, what did we see in chapter 2? When did
Shadimam
Arjuna,
Tvam Prapannam.
exactly, when
Any-
Arjuna found that he could not sort his problem out at all, then only he surrendered. Right? Okay. Of course, you have to also take the Puranic meaning. Puranic stories indicate that the Lord protects you from samsara and worldly problems and everything. And that's why you have this, that Lord Vishnu's weapon. What is it called?
Sudarshana
Chakra.
Sudarshanam. Sudarshana Chakram is normally taken as that little wheel spilling on his finger which can go and cut people's heads. But Vedantically, what is Darshanam?
Illuminate light.
No, what is Darshanam? What do these
Philosophy.
6 darshanas give you?
Radha-darshan.
Of
Shadarshanam,
philosophy.
they give you knowledge, right? Darshanam gives you knowledge, and therefore Darshanam can be taken as Jnanam, and Sudarshanam can be taken as good Jnanam, divine Jnanam. Right? So Lord's weapon is that he gives you Sudarshanam. And therefore everybody has his own Sudarshanam, right? What is that? The Aham Brahmasmi mantra. Okay. Then the next one is what? Next one is Suhrata. Now Suhrata we saw earlier. Suhrata and Mitra we discussed once upon a time. What is the difference between Suhrata and Mitra? Should not forget what all we have discussed. Do you remember? Who is a Mitra and who is a Surata?
Mitra can be maybe not the right intention.
Okay, who is a Mitra?
To you as an acquaintance. Was it that?
There is a friend.
A friend, right? So Mitra is a person who helps you because he is your friend. Suhrata is a person who helps you even if he does not know you. Very subtle difference. You have forgotten. We have seen this in the which chapter? 6th chapter. Okay. That Suhrat is a person who helps another person even if that person is unknown. And that's why Ishvara is called Suhrata. Of course, not that he doesn't know you, but he helps you without expectation of return. The meaning is that a friend helps you out because he's your friend and he knows that you will help him out in return when he needs it. So there is an expectation of return. But the Lord does not. That is why he says Suhrata. He doesn't expect anything from you. He doesn't need anything from you, but he still helps you out. So Suhrata. And Prabhavaha then means the Srishti Karanam, Utpattihi, right? And we have to say that this is the non-different, efficient as well as material cause. Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. Prabhavaha, Utpatti. Utpatti, of course, can have another meaning also. It's the very process of creation itself. So both, whichever way you take it, whether you take it as the Nimitta Karanam or the Upadana Karanam, I am that, I am both. Ishvara is both Srishti Karanam, Nimitta Karanam, Upadana Karanam, Ishvara is. There is another meaning of Utpatti. He is the process of creation of the universe. That also I am. Right? So even the process I am. Then Pralayaha. Pralayaha is the resolution ground. Right? And again, like Utpatti, there is another meaning also. The very process of destruction of the universe is also called Pralaya. So Pralaya has two meanings. One is the Laya Karanam, the resolution ground. One is the process of laya, the process of pralaya, destruction itself. Whichever meaning you take, the ultimate meaning is what? I am both is Bhagavan only. Everything is Bhagavan only. Of course, Shankara takes it as the resolution ground, but we can take it as the very process of resolution also. The intended meaning does not change. It is still, I am everything. Then sthanam. So we have taken utpatti as creation, pralayam as destruction. What is sthanam then in that case?
Sthiti Karana.
Sthiti karanam, right? Sthanam is Jagat remaining as it is, that is also Sthiti karanam. So in these three words, he has said, I am the Srishti karanam, I am the Sthiti karanam, I am the Laya karanam. In short, I am the very substratum, the adhishthanam from which creation arises, in which creation rests, and to which creation resolves. And therefore only nidhanam. Nidhanam is the warehouse, the storehouse. I am the repository of everything in creation because from me alone everything arises. Okay. And Shankara adds a word over here called nikshepaha. Nikshepaha means storehouse. The whatever exists in potential form, that is called nikshepaha. Right? It's a very important idea here because we often say that people discover the laws. Some people discovered laws. Some people, like for example, Newton discovered a law, right? And this law should have existed in potential form before it was discovered, right? And therefore, Shastra says that even before any knowledge is discovered, we call it invented, but there's no real invention because you can only discover what exists, and everything exists in the Lord in potential form. Therefore, nobody really discovers produces the knowledge. They only come across it because it already exists, and that's a very nice meaning for the word, for this particular word nidhanam. Everything there exists in potential form only, right? And then Shankara adds here that why does it exist in potential form? Because all jivas will sooner or later they will utilize it, and therefore everything has to be there in potential form. And then he says avyayam bijam. Bijam means the seed of the universe, right? And you have to connect it to the nidhanam, because whatever is in potential form, that only can emerge later, right? Remember that avyayam here is a adjective to bijam, right? It is not a separate description. It is the unchangeable or the eternal seed of the universe, out of which all the various manifestations appear. When you take nidhanam and bijam, there's a very fine difference. Nidhanam is karma phalam, which is already in existence, right? This means the sukshma sharirams, the experiences, everything which is there, the prarabdha karma phalam, not prarabdha, sanchita karma phalam, it's already existing there. But bijam means the potential for future karma phalam. That means potential for future bodies coming. See the difference? One is nidhanam, already existing karma and sanchita karma, from which you can say that these kind of bodies will come. Now, once these bodies come, they may do certain karma which will decide what future bodies come. So that is the difference. Nidhanam is sanchita karma already in existence. Bijam is the potential for future agami karma which will lead to more sanchita karma. Very fine difference. Both I am. And he uses the word avyayam for a very specific reason. when you say bijam, a seed, normally the seed will destroy itself in becoming the tree, right? And the tree will produce more seeds from which more trees will be born. When you say avyayam, you are saying that Ishvara will continue as the seed even when Jagat is born. Ishvara doesn't get destroyed when Jagat is born. Like normally a seed gets destroyed when the plant is born. Any questions? All very fine aspects of the Bhashyam which we are discussing.
So, Acharya, am I audible?
Just about.
Okay. So, Nidhanam then equivalent to Prarabdha Karma?
No, Nidhanam is Sanchita Karma, which is already come into existence. Bijam is future Agami Karma, which will convert and get added to Sanchita Karma. The potential also he is. He is saying that not only existing karma I am, but the potential for future karma also I am.
Acharya ji, this Nidhanam is not very clear. Sanchita karma, if it means Sanchita karma, it means the entire bundle which is in existence for all the jivas, all living beings. So he is that. Is that what he's trying to say?
Correct.
Okay. And Bijam becomes the future Agami.
Future
for
Agami,
all
which
the
will get added to Sanchita Karma. So
Right.
future Sanchita Karma is Bijam. Existing Sanchita Karma is Nidhana. You have to write Bijam also to complete the circle, right? You cannot say that only current
Yes.
Sanchita Karma I am. Then somebody might say, what about future? Is that not Ishvara? So he's taken care of that also.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Now we look at Amrish.
So the Bijam means that he is behind the Ishvara is behind the vasanas, which converts into vritti, and where free will comes in picture, which might give result to the Agami karma.
You can take it as the Samanya Karanam, the general cause. The Vishesha Karanam is your free will, because your free will can be utilized to do good and bad. But the capability of utilizing the free will, that is Ishvara.
Thank you.
All right. So we look at verse number 19. Tapamyaham varsham
Tapamya aham varsham
nigrannam yutsrajami cha
Nigranam
Jami cha
amritam chaiva mrityascha
Amritam chaiva
Amritam mrityascha
sadasachaham arjuna.
sadasachaham
Chaham
Arjuna.
Arjuna.
So he's continuing with the description. He says, if you look at the word tapa, tapam yah aham varsham. So aham tapami. The tapamya has to be broken up into tapami. Aham tapami. I am the energy which heats up the universe. And aham nigranami. So that nigranam has to be broken up into nigranami. Aham nigranami. I can control also. And aham utsrajami. I can release also. What is it we're talking about? Varsham. I heat up the universe. I control and release the varsham, the rains. And ahameva amritam. I alone am the karanam for amritam, immortality. Ahameva mrityuhu. I alone am the karanam for death also. And sad, asat, aham, Arjuna. The last word has to be broken as Sad, Asat, Cha, Aham, Arjuna. So Aham Sat, Cha, Aham Asat. I am the manifest and I am the unmanifest also. Whatever is Vyakta, manifest, I am. Whatever is Avyakta, unmanifest, that also I am. So to understand this, very simply put, everything is Ishvara. But here Krishna is talking about what? About Aditya Deva, about Surya as Bhagavan. So the role played by Surya Devata in the existence of the world is being discussed, right? And it's a very important role, we know, because it is the sun which provides for our nourishment also. Not only that, the sun at the right distance from the earth, we survive. The sun at the wrong distance from the earth, we are either toasted or we are frozen. So the sun is the right distance from the earth. The 93 million miles which you are today is exactly the right distance. It doesn't kill you by making you, by burning you up or by freezing you. And not only that, the sun gives you inexhaustible energy, right? You can tap the sun by way of solar energy, while all over the universe, your energy from petrol, energy from carbon products, they're all falling. But sun gives you unending energy, inexhaustible energy. So that the role of the sun is being talked about here when he says aham tapami. I heat up the universe in the form of the sun. And those of us who are in Delhi or Ahmedabad and May is coming, we know that we don't need a geyser. You have boiling water in your taps. And in fact, if you go out on the road in the middle of summer, you can cook on the hot surface of the road, right? Of course, in India, we say sun is very hot, very hot, very hot. But if you do that, I will recommend that you take a trip to Siberia in mid-December. And then when you come back to Delhi, you'll appreciate the Delhi summer. This is what is being talked about. Aham varsham nirunami. I withhold the rains, right? In what form? In the form of clouds. So here you have to take it as aham tapami. After heating up the oceans, the water evaporates, comes up in the form of rain clouds. And aham varsham nirunami. I withhold the rain. Why do I withhold it? Because then the clouds move over to the land. And then what do I do? Varsham utsrajami cha. I release that waters. I release the rains so that it falls over the land and it is available for the use of the people by way of cultivation, agriculture, all that. So I am Surya. I heat the waters. It evaporates, becomes clouds, rain clouds, and that too. I release the rains not over the ocean only, but also on the land, so that annam can be grown. And we all know that annam is the basic. Without annam, nothing will happen. In fact, there is a saying that vritha vrishtihi samudreshu vritha tripteshu bhojanam. So if the rain falls over the ocean, it is vritha. Vrishtihi samudreshu. The rain falling over the ocean is vritha, is useless. How useless? Tripteshu bhojanam. As trying to feed a person who's already eaten. He won't eat again. So it's useless. Food is useless for him. Similarly, rain is useless over the ocean. And therefore, the idea is here that when I, as the person providing the rain over the land, you should appreciate it. Don't take Bhagavan for granted. And Shankara, of course, wants to add a little bit more explanation. So he says, after releasing the waters, after releasing the rain, then I keep evaporating through hot sunlight. I keep evaporating the oceans. And then he says, for 8 months, That Nigranami, Shankara says, holding back is for 8 months. And then after 8 months, then during the next 4 months of the rainy season, I release for the next 4 months. Okay. So he is talking about the normal cycle of rain, where rain occurs only once in every year. Of course, there are certain places like, say, South India, where there are winter rains also. That is not taken into consideration over here. Then, Amritam cha eva mrityuscha. I am immortality as well as I am death also. And this has two meanings. The first is, because of the rains, I am the cause of the production of the food. And because of food alone, people will be alive. And therefore, because of me alone, people are alive. So I am the cause of survival, right? And the second meaning is that when I withdraw this, when I don't let the rains fall, then there will be no food and people will die. Therefore, I am the cause of living as well as of death. And the second meaning is, of course, from the Vedantic angle, I am the cause of mortality, which is Ajnanam, and I am the cause of immortality, which is Jnanam. Right? So both I am. And then the last one, Sat, Asat, Aham. I am both Sat and I am Asat. So Sat means existent, Asat means non-existent. How can you say that Ishvara is existent and non-existent? So Shankara explains that when you say something exists, you have always to connect it to a time and a place, right? When you say something does not exist, you connect it to a time and place. For example, when you say that Vikramaditya existed, you are connecting that existence to a time and place. And when you say Vikramaditya doesn't exist today, you are connecting it to a time and place. Or more, a more recent, more modern, example. Supposing municipality water has not come. You say there is no water. It means there is no water in my house, but there is still water on the lakes from which the water comes. Right. So that always connects to a desha kala, to a time and place. When you say something exists, when you say something does not exist. What is the purpose of this argument of Shankara's? Whenever you say does not exist, it is to be translated as relative non-existence. You should never say absolute non-existence. Why so? Whenever you talk about Ishvara, there can be only relative non-existence. He cannot said to be totally non-existent, always there. He is Sat itself, the very basis of existence. When something doesn't exist, the Jagat doesn't exist, the universe doesn't exist. We say Ishvara is Jagat. So you say universe doesn't exist means relatively that universe doesn't exist during this particular time, which is Pralayam time. It's a very fine argument. Okay. So if you want a simpler argument, Shankara gives a second meaning. He says Sat means the visible creation. Asat means the Karanam, invisible Maya. So Sat can be taken as Vyakta Maya. Asat can be taken as Avyakta Maya. This Vyakta Maya alone is available for transactions. Right? Just like the gold is not available for putting around your neck. Gold is the Karanam. Is not available for putting around your neck. But the gold bangle, which is the Karyam, is available for putting on your hand. That is the idea here. Karanam is not available for transactions. Therefore, it is called Asat. Karyam is available for transactions. Therefore, it is called Sat. Of course, we should understand that later we are going to negate the whole thing by saying Karyam itself is mithya. Karyam is neither Sat or Asat. Therefore, I am neither the Karanam nor the Karyam. Once you understand all these arguments in totality, then only you appreciate Atma Swarupam, the real nature of your own self. And therefore, when Krishna says Sat Asat Ahameva, he is saying that I am not only the Karanam, I am also the Karyam. Okay. And to summarize this, three types of Ishvara Dhyanams were talked about. Ekarupa Ishvara, Anekarupa Ishvara, and Arupa Ishvara. Ekarupa and Anekarupa are what? Saguna Dhyanam, Saguna Upasanam. And Arupa Ishvara Dhyanam is Nirguna Upasanam. So from 16th to the 19th sloka, Krishna was highlighting what? Aneka Rupa Upasanam, otherwise called Vishwarupa Dhyanam. In the entire section from 7th chapter to 12th chapter, Krishna is focusing on this, on Vishwarupa Ishvara Upasanam, which is presented in its final form in which chapter? In the 11th chapter. With this, the topic of bhakti as a means of liberation. The upasana which you're talking about is bhakti, basically, right? So the topic of bhakti as a means of liberation is over. And if you remember Viveka Chudamani, Shankara says that among all the sadhana available for moksha, bhakti is the greatest. And that is why you will find that from now onwards, the topic of bhakti comes in. And Krishna points out that bhakti is a very important qualification for getting jnana. So with this, we'll stop. Any questions? All right. So this will stop. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate Om Shanti
Om
Shanti
Shanti Shanti
Shanti.
Shanti.
Om Tat Sat. Om Namah
Om
Shivaya.
Tat Sat.
Thank
Om
you for your
Namah Shivaya.
patience.
Thank you,
Om.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Acharya.
Acharya.